Hi everyone, and welcome to Bear in Mind's Game Chat. Hi James, how are you doing?
Not bad, not bad.
Good. We weren't necessarily going to do anything today, and then some sneaky devil, went and stole a trailer from Microsoft from the looks of it. So
Was it you?
I wish I was that technically proficient, but no, it wasn't me. No.
Have you seen the trailer?
I haven't yet.
I have.
Have you seen it all now?
All the
Or just
trailer,
that?
yes. Without audio, but I have seen the visuals of it.
What do you think?
Yeah. First
Yeah?
off, so let's say the Series S is official.
Yeah.
A bunch of leaks came out last night, but Microsoft have confirmed the Series S one.
Yeah.
So it is priced $299 or $249.99 in UK sterling.
That's incredible. I didn't
Yes.
really expect it to be £50 cheaper.
Neither did I.
Because bearing in mind, obviously, that we have our tax included in our prices, and the American taxes. I know it doesn't apply to every state, and it doesn't necessarily apply online sometimes, depending on where you've purchased it from. But yeah, historically, American tax would be added on top of that, which means that when the pound and the dollar are roughly at parity, which is where they are at the moment, $300 would be £300. But yeah, £250 is
£250 for a not necessarily top tier next gen experience, but a next gen experience.
Yep.
Is incredible entry value, and that thing, especially if PS5s are going to be as hard to come by as it's rumoured, is going to sell like hotcakes.
I think that's the thing. I mean, obviously at that price, it's very, very attractive price. Yeah, it doesn't have a disk drive, and it's got a relatively small hard drive, which we'll discuss in a bit. But
I did take a screenshot of the spec. Well, the spec list.
The rumoured specs, yeah.
No, the bit that's in the video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it depends on how old that video is. Because
I feel like this is the video they were planning on looking at the video.
Yeah.
It's an announcement video.
Yeah.
This is what they would have put up on. So
depends on when they were going to do it, I suppose.
All digital.
Yeah.
1440p at up to 120 frames per second.
Yeah.
DirectX ray tracing.
Yeah.
Variable rate shading. Variable refresh rate.
Yeah.
Ultra low latency.
Yeah.
Custom 512GB SSD. 4K streaming media playback and 4K upscaling for games.
Interesting.
So
it's only run. Oh, so it runs at 1440 maximum, but it will do an upscale to a 4K in the same way that the Series X and okay, not the Series X, the One X and the PS4 Pro do.
So I imagine what we're getting here is the same CPU as the Series X, but probably the same family of graphics, but a lower power GPU.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, it's all going to be of the same family, even if it isn't exactly the same processor, like the same CPU. It'll probably be something that's been built in line with it. Because in the end, as much as Microsoft want you to be able to play everywhere, they also want their developers, and in particular their in-house developers, to be able to have, I suppose, as much streamline as possible. Because in the end, if the processors are designed the same, they're just one's more powerful and one's less powerful. Like, it should make it a little bit easier for the, especially for the next gen exclusive games.
Because that's the thing that's been holding back the last gen. It's the processors more than it is the GPU units. Even in the older consoles, they did not have powerful processors.
They didn't have powerful processors, and obviously, as the move to SSD is shown, and seeing some of the stuff that we've seen, It was also the hard drives. I think some of the games from the outgoing generations, so the Xbox One and the PS4, are naturally going to play better on a PS5 and a Xbox Series S and X, simply because it's going to have faster loading times. I watched a Digital Foundry video the other week of they put admittedly an absolute beast of an SSD into a PlayStation 4, and it was a PS4 Pro, sorry. And even then, it was quite staggering to see the difference, because they were playing Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
And in some of the denser environments in the city, the lack of detail that even the Pro was capable of with a standard hard drive, but all you need to do is just replace the hard drive.
I was actually impressed at how well Final Fantasy VII Remake looked even on my launch PS4.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the thing, though. I mean, like, if you're impressed with that, even on a launch PS4, and on the Pro, it was making significant difference by just changing the hard drive. I think by the middle of next year, we're definitely going to see some things that we're going to be quite impressed with. And even some of the games that we've played this generation are probably going to be worth replaying on the PS5 and on the Series X.
But yeah, this is a very aggressive pricing plan.
Very, yeah.
In the same leak, but unconfirmed, was both the price of Series X, and a release date. I feel if what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, if this leak proved to be accurate, the others could as well, but we don't know yet. But it was $499 for the Series X.
In dollars.
But
we haven't seen a pound.
No, because there's nothing been officially confirmed. We know the pound of the Xbox because
of the Series S,
Series X, because the UK Twitter account also confirmed it. And it was November the 10th as release date.
Which sounds about right.
Yeah. But both those prices are very aggressive.
They are quite aggressive. I think the Series S is bang on, to be honest. I think that's a great price.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've cut a few corners here and there by essentially making a better version of the One X from the sounds of it, with a very fast but not so large SSD in it. Obviously, we know that Microsoft are making memory cards, nice big SSD, fast memory cards, which I can't imagine are going to be cheap. But if you're only spending $300 on the console in the first place, potentially that might be. I mean, it might be as much as $100 for a memory card, but you'll get your value out of it, I think, because you're still then going to be $100 shy of the Series X.
In regards to a Christmas present, right? And say we're talking UK money.
Yeah.
£300 would be the console and a couple of months of Game Pass. So that's a lot to play on Christmas Day.
Well, I mean, that's saying that they ain't going to do a nice juicy £300 bundle, because there could very well be a £300
months of Game Pass.
6 months of Game Pass bundle where you get the Series S and a 6 months of Game Pass, which would be outstanding.
Yeah.
Hell, they could even do $350 at 12 months, and it would still be a good value. They might have to throw an extra controller in there, or something, but but the bundle potential for the Series S in particular, because I mean they could go all the way up to £400, and at £400, you could have a controller and 6 months of Game Pass and other things and all sorts of stuff.
It'll be interesting to see what it does to Sony's plans.
I mean, I still have a feeling. That the
I 100% think $599 now would be a mistake for Sony.
$599 is not going to happen.
No, it can't happen now. I think they might have wanted it to.
Yeah, I think they probably wanted. I think they probably wanted it to. I think I still wouldn't necessarily be surprised at 549 in the States, though. That's the. I know it's weird to go the halfway mark, but
yeah.
I think I still wouldn't be surprised with that for the disc version. And then they potentially take and then go down to 400 for the.
Shall we make a firm prediction each and see who gets closest?
Well, yeah, because we're recording this on Tuesday, the 8th of September. Yeah. It looks like Sony's having something tomorrow.
I'm not. The rumours are very iffy on that.
Well, as you said, it's the anniversary of PlayStation 1 releasing in the States, so it could just be something to do with that, which means it might be a PS Plus sale. It could be. It might even be a game announcement, like a PS1 bundle or a remake, or it could be anything, could be nothing.
Fun fact though, I have a fun fact for today's video news.
Go on.
A patented buzzer fun fact. The PS1 was still on sale when the PS3 launched.
In which territory are you on about though?
Territories that had stock. They officially discontinued it in 2000. So I'm going off the Japanese and American launch because it launched 6 months later in Europe.
Well, it was Japan first, wasn't it?
Japan. A month later was the States, and then it was like March of the following year in Europe.
Yeah.
But going off the 2006 launch of the PS3, the PS1 was still an officially sold console.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Also, the reason it changed its coding name from PSX to PS1 was because there was a special edition of the PlayStation 2 that was only available in Japan. That was essentially a prototype for the PlayStation 3. It was called the PSX, and it had all of the it had the Wi-Fi built in.
It had changed its coding name before then. It changed at the launch of the PS2. Because when the PS2 launched, they rebranded and released the PS1 Slim, which was the PS1.
Yeah. So, but it freed up the name for the PSX, which is a super rare, not quite PS3, not quite PS2 console.
We digress.
We do, yeah.
Pricing.
Anyway, so
pricing
wise, so obviously we've got. We'll deal in dollars for now.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling, although the Series S does have two different numerical values depending on pounds or dollars, I have a feeling the Series
X. The PlayStation will.
I don't think the PlayStation will, and I don't think the Series X will.
I think the Series X might now, just because it's hard for them to justify not doing it there after they've done it there.
I have a feeling just because they're going to be looking at selling as many as possible of the Series S. And I mean, again, remember that we don't have the data caps that America do. Therefore, a digital only console in this country might be a bit more tempting to go for.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm awfully tempted at that price.
If I can afford one at the time, I know a few weeks ago, like we talked about Game Pass. Well, sorry, xCloud being a reason to never buy an Xbox again. I might change my mind. Yeah,
because that's the thing. I have the PC, right? And yet, at that price, it's still an awfully tempting proposition.
It would be.
When you consider if you want if you want the new pad, even to use on a PC, that's £50. So that's already getting that console down to 200.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, like
worst comes to worst, it goes in a different room in the house.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so Series X. We'll start with that one. It's probably an easy one. What do you think?
Series X, 499, 449 in the UK, because I do think there will be the price.
Yeah,
difference.
Fair enough. 499, 449. I am going to go for 499 in the States, and if there is a difference in the UK, I'm not sure it will be 449. I've got this weird feeling they might do something stupid like a 479. It just
yeah,
like I'm going to go with that.
I do think it'd be lower. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I agree. It might not be 449, but I do think it'd be lower than 499.
Like even though in theory it would make sense to go to 449. Something's telling me 479.
So
in pounds.
The disc SKU of a PS5.
In theory, it's a more expensive console to make than the Series X, even though it's got on paper slightly less power. It's got more bells and whistles in.
My prediction is 499 as well.
Yeah, I think because they were again a leak that came out ish about 6 months ago that said that maybe it was going to cost them $450 just to make it. So 499 would be right at the point where, even including the retailer cut, which would be a tiny retailer cut, and the shipping and distribution and stuff like that, they wouldn't lose money at 499. So anything lower than that, and they'd be losing money, even if they went to like 479. I still wouldn't be surprised at a 550 in the States. And therefore maybe a 499 in the UK, only because they do have the discless version.
Okay, so the discless version,
yeah,
I would have lent to 399.
Yeah,
but I think it might be 349 now.
Yeah,
yeah, just to get closer.
Maybe I think that had it looked like the Series S, well, the Series S at one point was rumoured to be more powerful than it looks like it's going to be. So I think had that gap in power between the Series S and the PS5 been a bit closer, then I think you're probably right that it would have gone down to 349 just to have a certain level of parity.
I think it will. But at the same time, I don't have anywhere near as much of a desire for a discless PS5 as I do for.
Yeah, and I think that's like, I think the thing is that like with the discless PS5, you are literally just losing the disc. You're just losing the optical drive. So I think if it was $399 dollars, that is perfectly warranted extra $100 because you do have a significantly more powerful machine at that point, and you do have an extra what was it, 825, the PS5's hard drive.
It's a weird 812.
It's a weird number. I think it was 825. It was a very odd number. Yeah. So you've got an extra 60% hard drive space on top of the Series S as well, which obviously even nowadays fast SSDs are very expensive, and this is about as fast as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
So I think that $100 difference would be warranted. So I still think maybe $399, especially if the disc version they go sod it, let's charge extra for it. Right?
The ball is firmly into Sony's court now. Even though we're still waiting for the Series X price to be announced,
yeah,
I think the ball is in Sony's court. I'm interested in when Microsoft are now going to do whatever event they obviously have planned, and whether that will come forward.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's. I think realistically, again, we're recording this on the 8th. I don't think Sony are going to release a price tomorrow.
No, neither do I.
Unless they suddenly, unless they've got it signed off that they can go out with a ridiculous price. If they can go out with a ridiculous price, then I think maybe it'll be tomorrow, just to steal some of the thunder.
Yeah. By ridiculous, you mean low?
Yeah. By ridiculous, I mean low. I would count the a $349 discless version has a ridiculously low price, because at that point, even though it doesn't have the disc drive in it, it's still in theory losing at least $50 a console at that point. So
cool.
I think,
we've got those predictions in.
Yep.
Let's take a wander over to the wonderful, wacky world of odd Nintendo decisions.
Yes, very. I mean, yeah, odd in a way. Like, I mean, it's
an odd decision.
It's odd to us. It's not odd to Nintendo. In the end,
nothing's odd to Nintendo.
Nintendos.
So Nintendo announced a few things in Mario's anniversary last year.
Yep.
The first and biggest announcement is the 3D Super Mario All-Stars collection, which is missing a game, but you're getting Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and the first Mario Galaxy. Mario Galaxy 2, nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, which is an odd one. Like, unless they've just thought maybe it's just going to be too big for the game cards. Because I know obviously they're not necessarily huge, like properly up-resed or anything like that, but it might just be they thought, well, as it's a sequel, because a lot of people really thought of Galaxy 2 as Galaxy 1.5.
I've heard many people refer to Galaxy 2 as the best Mario game until Odyssey came along.
Yeah, I mean, it's meant to be better, but like, I remember some of the reviews saying that it was also nothing different. It was just almost a better version of Mario Galaxy rather than it being a true sequel.
And this collection is priced at $60 for Americans, $49.99 for ourselves, and you can only buy it up until the end of March next year.
Yep.
After that, it vanishes from sale. Like a boom.
As a bundle.
Well, they haven't stated anything otherwise. It vanishes from sale.
As a bundle, I think.
I think they might launch them as individual games, but
of course they are.
The other option is maybe they're looking to the Disney of the 90s, and have gone, you know what's a cool idea? The Disney Vault.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we can have a vault of classic games that we open up every now and again and re-release them.
I mean, it could be that. It could just be. It could be anything. Let's face it. Again, Nintendo was Nintendo.
Something similar next year as well.
Yeah.
With Zelda, because it's Zelda's anniversary next year.
Yeah, I mean, there's been the long rumoured Skyward Sword. Is it Skyward Sword, the one that was on the Wii?
We had Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, yes.
Yeah.
But Twilight Princess was also on the GameCube.
Yeah, it was Skyward Sword, because it was the one that made the use of the motion sensor. That one's been long rumoured.
Hell, even bring Wind Waker for Wii U up-res of Wind Waker over to Switch would be rather nice.
And obviously Breath of the Wild 2 is potentially next year as well. And as we mentioned in the last episode, the Switch 2, Switch Pro, Switch XL, whatever it ends up being called, that's probable for next year.
So the other stuff that came out of the Mario Direct, their Super Mario World 3D is coming to the Switch. Another Wii U game that's coming to a console where people will actually play it.
Makes sense.
I think Nintendo really should port all their Wii U games over to... They slowly have been doing, to be fair.
They slowly have been. I think the thing is that they've taken some care with them. With most of them, it isn't just a case of copy and paste.
No, and it's just putting them in a place where people can play them.
Yeah. So, which is fair enough. Like they've actually, because I think they've realised, as you say, no one played them on the Wii U.
Yeah.
So let's give them the treatment that they deserve. Give them a bit of polish. Maybe a new level or two or bit of content here and there, and almost treat it like a brand new game. And it's worked. I mean, they've sold incredibly well.
They have.
We
got the announcement of Super Mario 35.
Love that idea. Again, only limited time.
Yeah, only playable till March. Although the Tetris Battle Royale, Tetris 99, was also meant to be a limited experience, but is still there.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it just depends on how well Nintendo service hold up for it, because they're notoriously iffy, depending on what part of the world you're in.
Then Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch, which is a little replica Game & Watch console that has Super Mario Bros. For the first one, and what to us in the West is Super Mario Bros. For Lost Levels, and what to Japan is Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yep.
That's a fun little thing. It's a toy. I've pre-ordered one because I'm a sucker for things like that.
I would not be against having one of those myself. I think I've never been the biggest of Nintendo guys, even though it's probably the generation that I probably should have been. I didn't get one until the SNES, and even then it was once a friend of mine got a PS1, so I had his second-hand SNES off him, and a handful of games that I wanted.
I was saying, right, we're here kind of criticising some odd decisions by Nintendo, and yet an hour after they announced it, I had my pre-order in for both the All-Star Collection and the Game & Watch.
I mean, the Game & Watch is the one of two things that I would have gone for. The other being the Mario Karts, because that looks awesome.
Yes. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Mario Karts.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a Toys as game, I guess.
Well, it syncs up with Mario Kart itself, I believe.
No, it's a new game.
I thought it
no, it doesn't sync to Mario Kart 8. It's its own. I believe it comes on its own cartridge.
Cool.
They're little toy Mario Karts with a camera on top of them.
Yeah.
You create a track with cardboard on your living room floor, and then you play Mario Kart on your Switch, controlling the Mario Kart in real life. And it's an AR style game, so the visual you have is what the camera's capturing from the Mario Kart, but you're controlling it as if you were playing Mario Kart. If you fire a shell at someone, if you're playing with someone else and it hits, or if someone hits you with a shell, your kart just stops before it starts up again. The thing's amazing. It's $99.99 for one kart, in pounds as well.
Is it as well?
Yeah. For one kart and the cardboard pieces to make the track, and I assume the game cart.
Yeah, it probably must be.
Yeah. It's not cheap, but it looks.
It's not cheap, but it's also not out. It's also not like outrageously expensive.
No, it's a bit like those Star Wars drones that you can buy and things like that.
Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, if you go out and you get one of those little BB-8s, which like when they came out, they were like 120 quid for a good one. Like the little tiny jobbers were cheaper, but
the Sphero.
The official Sphero one. They were like 120 quid each. So like for an official Nintendo produced Mario Kart augmented reality game, excellent. Again, the only issue is they didn't show anyone with a carpet.
No. Or pets.
Or pets. Obviously, you'd have to put your pets away and put your parents away because they will stand on it. Don't trust your parents.
Well, on that note, that is the news.
Well, there is a little bit of Ubisoft talk as well.
What they announced?
Well, they announced last week that they've got another Ubisoft Forward. The first Ubisoft Forward was essentially their E3 replacement for this year. So I think a lot of people thought maybe they're not gonna do another Ubisoft Forward, but then obviously with the success of that, because it did get a hell of a lot of hits on YouTube, and with all of the various games conventions this year being digital only, and there's only really Tokyo Game Show left now before everything starts to come out.
You've got one more European one, but nothing gets announced at those. That's just places.
Well, I mean, it gets announced at Gamescom, but it doesn't get announced at anything else.
No,
but, Tokyo Game Show, if it's, the Paris Game Show. Sometimes if it's early enough in the season.
EGX and PAX West still to go, but they're more places where you can play what's already been announced.
They're closer to like a Comic-Con kind of a thing. It's less of an announcement place, and it's more not Comic-Con, the big San Diego one, but like Comic-Con.
It's a show, but nothing tends to get announced there. It's a place where you can go and play.
There might be some elaboration but nothing, no announcements. So it looks very likely that Prince of Persia is finally going to get shown. There's been lots of rumours and little bits and bobs of a Prince of Persia reboot or remake. The latest wording seems to be remake, so it seems like maybe they're going to do a remake of the PS2 classics. Obviously, everyone's remaking things at the moment. Tony Hawk came out last week.
It's a remake of a PS2 classics, and not a remake of the old side scroller.
I mean, if they're gonna, why not?
Yeah.
So I think because
it's a franchise that's been dormant for too long.
It's a franchise that's been dormant for a very long time. It's also a franchise that has the potential to offer Ubisoft a little bit of needed variety, because really at the moment you've got open world game in the vein of Assassin's Creed, or you've got your games as a service, let's go blow some people up with a Tom Clancy thing.
There's 3 games Ubisoft currently make. Old world open world.
Yeah.
First person shooter, modern open world.
Yeah.
Tom Clancy open world.
Yeah. So a good classic linear adventure game like Prince of Persia
could be cool.
Which, even if it is just a remake in the same vein as Tony Hawk recently and Shadow of Colossus and that sort of thing. Hell, in the last episode we were chatting quite a lot about Ratchet and Clank. Technically a remake. So there's lots of potential there for them to go and take a proven game, put a beautiful new skin on it, and some fresh voice acting, etc., and they've got a cheap-ish game to make some money out of. And of course, if it sells well, we might get a new Prince of Persia game in the coming years. Which, with all the magic and stuff, and obviously with the speed of SSDs and stuff like that, like you could have him jumping all over the map, and it could be quite fun. Huh?
Speaking of Ratchet and Clank,
go on.
I finished it the other day.
Oh, cool!
It's good.
It's very good.
I like it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, me too. If I were better at it, as I said, it would be one that I'd go on the trophy hunts. I'm just not good enough at platformers to have a crack at it.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it, and I have recently started The Avengers.
What do you think?
Poorly marketed.
It seems to be, doesn't it? I haven't played it. Seen loads and loads
of
people talking about it.
The shadow of whatever the game as service version of that game is going to be. But the campaign so far, and I'm not that far into it, I've only got Miss Marvel and Hulk.
Yeah.
I'm about to go and unlock Iron Man. But it's exactly the Avengers game you would expect to come from the people who made Tomb Raider.
Yep.
And I mean that as a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a solid campaign. It's a stealth Miss Marvel game, seemingly. Like, she is very much the main focus.
I've heard, yeah. But then at the same time, there was not a chance in hell they were going to be able to sell a Miss Marvel game as a Miss Marvel game, I think.
It's a clever way of doing it, and she's the persona of a character. I love Miss Marvel. I think one of the best new superhero characters in a long time. I think she is Spider-Man for a modern age.
I've heard a lot of that. I've heard the writing is very much, she's female Spider-Man.
Her and Miles Morales, they're probably the two kind of best new creations of the past decade.
Yeah.
and it's nice to start seeing her drift into things that aren't comics. And the first 15 minutes of this game, it does not start where the beta and all the stuff we were shown starts. You have 15 minutes of walking around the Avengers fair, basically.
Yes.
It starts with the Avengers are announcing something cool. And they've run a fan fiction competition. Because Miss Marvel is Kamala Khan. She writes a lot of fan fiction. She's big into writing Avengers fan fiction. Even in the comics, that's a part of her character.
I take it we're talking wholesome fan fiction and not
Yes.
like 50 Shades of Grey style
Yes.
fan fiction. Yeah.
Although she's won to come to the event, and one of them might even win a bigger prize. So you play a younger than Miss Marvel. This is before she's become Miss Marvel. You play because there's a 5-year jump between this opening and the rest of the game. So you play a young Kamala walking around this Avengers fair, fanning out about the Avengers, and it slowly introduces you all. Like you bump into Thor.
Yeah.
There's some bit where 2 guys are bullying you, and Kamala gives the Steve Rogers, the famous Steve Rogers, when the world tells you to move but you know you're right, you plant your feet in the ground and say no, you move speech. And as she's giving it, Steve walks up behind her.
Yeah.
And he tells her about the fiction she wrote. He's clearly, obviously,
a fan.
Actually read it. Like, you get some of the Avengers, not all of them might have done, but Steve has clearly read every single one of these fanfiction entries. And starting the game as like an 11-year-old, 12-year-old, I'm not sure how old she's meant to be. Probably older, because obviously American school is weird. Maybe a 14-year-old, I don't know. However old Kamala is at that point.
Yeah. Kamala at some age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being introduced to the other Avengers through her eyes, there's so much to endear you to
the Avengers
and to this version of them.
Yeah.
As this voice cast is portraying and playing them. It's a wonderful 15 minutes to open the game on.
Yeah.
And there feels like there's a solid actual story campaign. It has got all that game and surface stuff in it.
Yeah.
But it feels like if you just wanted to focus on the campaign, you could easily do that.
Yeah.
And so far, that campaign is excellently acted from what I've played.
Yeah.
And an interesting story that they're telling.
You see, that's one of the games that I think, like years ago, I used to say with Call of Duties that, because I have no interest in playing them online, but I kind of enjoyed the campaigns, and I know so few people played the campaign anyway. But there was not a chance I was going to pay £50 to get a Call of Duty just to pay.
They've been remastering those campaigns, haven't they, and re-releasing them?
They have, as just campaigns as well, which is
so I think more people played them than you're given kind of credit for.
At one point, it was as little as a quarter.
Really?
Yeah, it was under a quarter of the Call of Duty sales. People even, and this is even playing like the opening cutscene.
Yeah.
Like this isn't completed or got through a significant percentage. This is like played it at all.
Oh.
Which is why obviously the last Black Ops didn't have a campaign in it.
Well,
because it didn't need one.
But it's like we said how a game that completely fell through the radar was Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
And probably has one of the best first person shooter campaigns of this generation. It's fantastic. But no one bought it, no one played it.
Because first person shooters are hard to, like, a single player thing is hard to sell now.
It also wasn't marketed as remotely anything but another Titanfall to go with the first one that didn't have a campaign.
True. But anyway, back around to Marvel.
Yeah.
I think this is very much a game that I have zero interest in playing the multiplayer, like the online component of it. So I think in the future, if it's cheap enough in a PS Plus sale, or even if it's a PS Plus game
I can feel that online section of it getting its grips into me. As I play the campaign, I can feel, because I love superheroes, right?
Yeah.
So I can feel, I feel like it could get its grips into me way more than something like Destiny ever truly could.
Yeah, I suppose because it's got the characters that you want. It isn't just some generic things that Bungie's created. It's
I think Bungie have created an interesting world of Destiny.
It's not to diss Bungie, but it's easier to get into because it's some of these characters are 50, 60 years old now, aren't they?
Yeah.
So,
and you already have that attachment to them, don't you? That's the thing, either via the MCU or through comics.
Just through, for some of them, just through general pop culture anyway.
And I know they've released trailers for other characters I love, like who I refer to as the good Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Kate Bishop. She's coming into it. I don't know if she's in the campaign or if she's going to have a string of online story missions.
Well, they've said that every new character is going to have its own battle pass, isn't it? So it's going to be like a $10 battle pass for each character. So in theory, that means that there's quite a bit of content.
The battle passes are just for unlocking costumes and emotes and things like that. They're not. The battle passes aren't story related.
Yeah, but I mean, it's $10 per character. They have announced that it's they've got their own essentially DLC price.
If they want to charge me, if they give a story campaign to each character, and they want to charge me $10 for a 5-6 hour campaign,
it doesn't even have to be 5 or 6 hours. If it's at $10, if it's a good 3 hours, a really good 3 hour campaign, and they're releasing, and the key is obviously not releasing them too quickly as well. If it's one every 3 months or one every 6 months or something like that, then $10 here, $10 here, $10 here, and you get an extra 3 hours of game every time, or campaign story anyway. Then that'll be fine. But it just, we'll see. We'll see
what happens with it.
Indeed. I've been playing some more Fall Guys. I still haven't won. I've got closer. I still love it. We play it most evenings after dinner, just to chill, wind down after the day. It is a perfect game. Just there's nothing to say that hasn't been said before. To be honest, it's perfect. An incredible game. Looking forward to the season 2, where they go medieval. It's all castle based for season 2, with like knight costumes and things like that. So that'll be good. Other than that, I finally started playing Gran Turismo again yesterday. Because the last few weeks I had a week that was just not that good, but I persisted and drove, but I was just awful. And then I had a week where I had a little dabble, and then just thought, you know what, it's only going to hurt my driver rating. And then last week, same thing. Last week I looked at it on Monday and then just turned it off. I didn't play it at all last week because it was just completely the wrong combination of cars and tracks for me. I knew again this week, definitely one combination that is right for me. Monza, the F1 track. It is the current F1 layout as well, with a small selection of Group 4 cars. I've got a good time. Unfortunately, I'm a bit sloppy because I haven't played consistently enough, so my sportsmanship ranking has taken a battering today, so the rest of the week is going to be trying to get that back up. But yeah, other than that, not really played a lot. So I think that brings an end to today's games chat. It feels like it's that time of year where things are going to start happening again.
Yeah.
Again, something from Sony is probably happening tomorrow. Probably isn't going to be a price thing. It's probably just going to be a celebration of the anniversary of the release of the PlayStation. But we'll see. Obviously, Sony has got something big planned for Tokyo Game Show, which is at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Which is the last big show of the year until everything starts coming out.
Yeah.
So at least by the end of the month, we'll probably have some idea of what the hell's going on. So, but until then, we will make more of these when there's something to talk about. Like and subscribe. Put your predictions for Sony's prices in the comments if they haven't already announced them by the time we put this up. And have a good day. See you soon, James.
See ya.
Goodbye.